Most people approach manifestation from the outside in. They focus on affirmations, visualizations, scripting, positive thinking, but very few people look at the deeper layer underneath all of it, the way they actually see themselves. Hi there, my name is Kelly, and today we are exploring the psychology behind self-image, identity, and manifestation. And I have something fascinating that perfectly demonstrates how powerful self-image really is. So please stick around, because this goes way beyond spirituality. Your identity quietly shapes your decisions, your confidence, your behavior, and ultimately your reality. Have you ever noticed how two people can want the exact same thing, but one person naturally attracts opportunities, confidence, and success, while the other keeps struggling no matter how hard they try? The difference usually isn't talent, and it's not manifestation techniques either. It's self-image. Because your life tends to mirror the identity you hold about yourself. And once you understand this psychologically, manifestation starts making a lot more sense. Psychologist Carl Rogers explained self-concept through three parts: your self-image, your self-esteem, and your ideal self. Your self-image is how you currently see yourself. Your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself emotionally. And your ideal self is the version of yourself you want to become. Now, here is where this becomes important. When there is a large gap between who you are now and who you believe you want to be, you experience internal tension. And a lot of people unknowingly live in that tension every day. Are you one of those? They want abundance, but identify with lack. They want law, but see themselves as unworthy. They want success, but internally still feel like the version of themselves that failed before. So, even though the conscious mind wants change, the identity stays the same. And the mind always tries to stay loyal to your identity. This reminds me of a powerful psychology experiment about self-image I learned from Dr. Shade Zaral.
In the 1970s, a psychology professor by the name of Robert Kleck from Dartmouth, he conducted this fascinating experiment where he brought people together, he split them into groups, and with one group, he drew a scar on their face, from their right ear to the side of their mouth. Big, ugly scar, and he let them see themselves in a hand mirror. Then he sends the groups out to have conversation with strangers, right? So you have one group that has this scar, another group has no scar. After the conversations, they come back and they report on how they felt the conversation went. The group with the scar overwhelmingly reported that they felt judged, it was tense, the other person was distant because of the scar. But here is where it gets really interesting. If we rewind just a little bit, right before the researchers sent them out into these conversations, he applied moisturizing cream to the scar, so they just seen themselves in the mirror. He then applies his cream, but he doesn't tell them that he's removing the scar.
Wow.
So now they have no scar on their face, but they believe that they do.
No.
They go into these conversations believing, expecting they will be treated badly, poorly, judged. And that's what they experienced.
What makes this experiment so fascinating is that this reveals something most people never realize. People rarely act according to their potential. They act according to who they believe they are. And what I believe about the self becomes emotionally accepted, the brain starts filtering reality through it. you begin noticing evidence that supports that identity. You behave differently, you expect different outcomes, and eventually your external reality starts reflecting those internal assumptions. This is why two people can have a completely different experience in similar situations. Because after all, they are operating from different self images. I hope that makes sense. Here's the deal. Manifestation becomes much more grounded, I think, when we understand through identity instead of measure. Because your identity affects how you speak, how you carry yourself, what opportunities you pursue, what you tolerate, and what your subconscious believe you deserve. Think about it. If someone deeply identifies as confident and capable, they naturally take actions that align with that identity, right? On the other hand, someone who identifies as inadequate might hesitate, procrastinate, or self sabotage without even realizing it. But here's the thing, not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, but because the mind tries to stay consistent with their self image. And honestly, this explains why affirmations sometimes feel fake to people. Because think about it, if your current identity strongly disagrees with the affirmation, like anything else, your mind creates resistance, right? That's natural. That's our natural reaction, just as being human beings. This is backed by psychology too. Albert Bandura introduced the idea of self-efficacy. In other words, you believe in your ability to succeed. And that belief changes everything. People with high self-efficacy take more action, stay consistent, and recover faster from setbacks, which from the outside looks like things working out for them. Actually, they are working out. But it's not luck, it's identity in action. Now let's talk about self doubt, because this is where most people get stuck. Self doubt isn't just a negative thought, it's actually a signal. It's your identity saying, this doesn't feel like me. And when that happens, you might procrastinate, overanalyze, quit early, even if you truly want the outcome. That's why you can know what to do and still not do it. It sounds like a paradox, right? But how many times have we done that? So, how do we actually change this? Not by forcing affirmations you don't believe, but by shifting your identity step by step. Here's how. Number one, get honest about your current identity. Ask yourself, who do I believe I am in this area of my life? Not who you want to be, who you actually believe you are. Number two, bridge the gap. Don't jump it. Just breathe. If you believe is, I'm not successful, don't jump to, I'm wildly successful, because that creates resistance. Instead, try, I'm learning to succeed. I'm becoming more confident. Do you feel the difference? This feels believable, and that actually matters. Number three, build evidence. In other words, your brain changes for proof. Small wins matter. Showing up, following through, taking action. Each one tells your mind, this is who I am right now. And this really matters. Number four, act like your future self, but in small ways, in small increments. So ask, what would this version of me do today? Then do it, but do it on a scale that feels real. In other words, that feels manageable to you. Because after all, identity shifts through action, not just thought. And that leads us to our fifth action: use a meditation to reinforce identity. If you follow me for a while, you know that meditation is my favorite practice because meditation helps you observe limiting beliefs, separate from old identities, and visualize your future self more clearly, among other things. But the more familiar the new identity becomes emotionally, the more natural new outcomes start to feel. And you will see this, you'll notice this with time. But here's the thing: you don't need to do this all alone, because I put together a free abundance activation kit to help you start shifting your identity immediately. And it comes with one 11-minute guided abundance meditation audio, a 90-second emotion reset audio as well to help you shift your state instantly. It also comes with a self-concept reflection template and also a 50 daily abundance affirmation template. This way, you can put everything into practice right away. Because at the end of the day, manifestation may have less to do with forcing reality and more to do with transforming the identity, experiencing the reality. Well, in other words, transforming your identity. Because your self image quietly shapes what you expect, what you accept, and what you believe is possible for you. And once your identity changes, your life often begins changing with it. And if this resonated with you, please comment below. I'm changing my self image. And if you enjoy these deep conversations around manifestation, psychology, identity, and consciousness, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know the next time I upload new videos. So, this is what I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.